Yo, what is going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today we're here with some more Root Devil Before Crime After Days Extended Edition. Yes, I know, it's been forever since I posted a video at all. I know, I've been doing stuff. Anyways, I'm not gonna waste your time with me rambling on about how I'm busy and doing this and that. I've given you the same excuses 1,000 times before, so we're not gonna do it again. Okay, yeah, this sounds about right. So we did get some good information the first episode. We got a good idea of how the opinion system works. And then also one of you guys commented saying that that can still heavily affect the outcome of the game. So I'm still kind of blind on this, but we have a basic understanding. And our main objective right now is just to survive. So that's what we're going to do. The group headed for Area 3 as quickly as they could. One of the security gates that Kazami had mentioned earlier came into view when they approached the connecting passageway. Kazami pointed to a terminal next to the gate.
これがカードスロットです。ここにカードを通せばゲートは開きます。一度開けたゲートも再び通過する際にはその都度カードが必要になります。わかった。
Oh, we also needed to check something. Hold up. Tips. So, it's important to, like, check stuff here. Okay, air jack. I mean, we know what this is, right? Oh, look, classification as well. Non-fiction. That's cool, actually. Let's see. Let's go to new. Let's go to unlocked. Here we go. Oh, that's cool that it gives a classification. So, engine cutter, obviously we know what that is. Air tank, dispatch, radiation exposure. I think really what we're going to be caring about... Oh wow, that's cool, it gives you all that stuff. I think what we're really going to be caring about is all the fiction/fiction included stuff. So, retrograde amnesia... yada yada, finally retrieval of that information is called recall, memory stored in the human line. There's also anterograde amnesia, which is the loss of the ability to remember new events that happen. Firefighter, command post, transmitter, PDA, yada yada. Okay, cool. What about the fiction stuff? So it's a special elite rescue squad. A feature they possess is a strict selection test like that of the Tokyo Fire and Disaster Management Agency, meaning that the ones who pass are true elites. They're divided into teams of 6, 5 members and a diver, with 3 teams total. Watase serves as the captain for A team at the top of the list. Rokume City is an exceptionally rare case, where a city with a population as small as 200,000 is assigned a special elite rescue squad. However, the Fire Services Act was revised based on the importance placed on government-designated top-secret cities due to the BC law, and as a result, it became necessary for top-secret cities to have special elite rescue squads. Also, Sirius refers to the Alpha Star of Canis Major. The brightest star in the particular constellation, the next brightest star that can be seen from Earth following the sun. Okay, so they're talking about secret cities. However, the fire... Okay. Government designated top secret cities. Okay. A piece of medical equipment in the shape of a wristband that allows the automatic inspection of the wearer's health, vital signs, yada yada. Cool. And then the radiation inhibition drug. So this would basically be like iodine, right? Approved in 2021. It's still not been distributed to the general public. However, starting with Labo and Rokume City, nuclear power research institutes are allowed to use it experimentally. Nuclear power may be indeed be useful, but the bottleneck in its implementation is definitely the fear of radiation exposure. Okay, interesting. Well, if any other seemingly important terms pop up, we'll give those a look. He looked at Jun as he said this. She then pulled out her Procyon and stared hard at it.
何をしてるんだ?
未捜索の場所に入る前にはプロキオンを使って放射線量をチェックしなきゃ。このゲートの先は我々にとって。
Yeah, and then we had like I think a level 4 card. So the way it works is that there's like a level they only had level like 2 cards, so they could get from sections 1 to 2. But we have a level 4 which grants us access to section 1, 2, 3, and 4, obviously. So we're trying to explore these areas, get more of the radiation inhibitors, because right now we're only going to last about like a couple of hours. So Kazumi and Jun's faces were dead serious. Watase took the card out as nervousness took a hold of him and swiped it through the slot. The gate opened with a loud sound. Watase and Jun both studied their probe counts carefully. The number was 1,285 MSV, slightly higher than the reading they'd gotten at Area 1 earlier.
よし、安全基準地内だ。
安全基準地内。
汚染はされてるけど、比較的安全ってことだよ。
安全基準値が4000ミリシーベルト以内。これは AD 投与の上なら被爆の危険は皆無という値です。第一危険基準値が4000ミリシーベルトから8000ミリシーベルト。これは AD 投与の上でも長時間の被爆は望ましくない。第二危険基準値8000ミリシーベルト以上は AD 投与の上でも生命の保証なしです。
要するに4000ミリシーベルト以内なら AD があれば大丈夫。4000ミリシーベルトを超えたら AD があってもちょっとやばい。8000ミリシーベルトを超えたら AD があっても死にかねないってわけか。
ええ、危険基準値を超えた汚染区域ではプロキオンが警告音を発します。万が一警告音が鳴ったら速やかにその場を離れてください。
The group passed through the gate as they talked. The further they walked down the connecting passageway, the worse the damage got. The walls had been burned to hell and back, and the ceiling was damaged too.
ひでえな。
ここでも爆発が起きたようですね。
And then, just as they finished rounding a corner, the whole group gasped. Oh? Okay. There was a woman dangling upside down from the ceiling. It looked like she was sticking her lower torso into the air duct.
これは一体。
シュールな光景。
As Kazumi and Jun stared in utter disbelief, the woman's eyes widened with shock.
あ、俺たちはレスキュー隊のものだが。
レスキュー隊？ちょうどよかった。出られなくなっちゃったの。引っ張ってちょうだい。
わかった。
森部、エアダクト直下で待機。この方が頭から落下しないように。
了解。それじゃ、せーの。
The rescue squad then frantically pulled the woman's body and safely rescued her.
助かったわ。
The woman, now standing upright on the floor, said this with a bit of embarrassment in her voice. It seemed that she was also a survivor.
しかし、何やってたんだ、あんた。
あれよあれ。
The woman pointed to the air duct on the ceiling.
なぜか急にゲートが閉まって、この通路に閉じ込められちゃったから、エアダクト
How
から
the
逃げられ
fuck
な
did
い
you
か
get
試
up
してた
to
の
the
よ。
goddamn air duct in the first place?
天井から垂れたケーブルを使って、
Oh, well, there you go,
な
I
んとかあ
guess.
そこまでよじ登ったんだけどね。エアダクト内を動き回ってたら、ずり落ちそうになって、あのざまよ。
それは苦労されましたね。ですが、このエアダクトは脱出には使えません。
そうなの？
ええ、調べましたが、ダクト内に何か機械のようなものが設置されています。
あら残念。まあここから地上に出るつもりはなかったけど、この通路の中から脱出したかっただけよ。
The woman said that calmly. Don't tell me. She doesn't know what's going on right now? With that thought weighing on his mind, Watase faced the woman and called out.
あんたはこのラボの職員か。
いいえ、六名学園高等部の
What
教
is
師
the high school teacher doing down here, man?
六名学園。
知らないの？市内の特化学校よ。
Now that he thought about it, her smartly dressed attire was befitting of a teacher. But it was covered in soot just like the rest of the group. She'd probably been through the ringer.
そんなことよりあなたたち救助に来たんでしょ？
She looked at Watase with eyes full of expectation. I turned down my volume. These games are always loud as fuck. but all he could do was answer her with a bit of guilt in his heart.
実は
The woman's face grew more and more pale the further he explained about their current predicament. It only got worse when he told her that the phones and radios were down and the elevators weren't working. But it wasn't until she heard the part about how there was no way to the surface that she finally started shouting desperately.
そんな核壁が閉まったってどういうこと？
原因はこちらでもつかめておりません。
There you go.
そんなもの壊してしまえばいいじゃない。なんかこう特殊装備的なもので。
あたしらも散々試したんだよ。でもエンジンカッターでも全く歯が立たないんだ。
我々の装備ではあの核壁の破壊は不可能です。
レスキューってのも案外使えないのね。
Alright, now listen here, lady.
確かに我々の装備では破壊できませんが、地上にいる隊員の装備の中には爆薬もあるはずです。いずれあの核壁を破壊し増援が来ることでしょう。だから今はどうかご勘弁を。
そう仕方ないわね。
The woman let out an exasperated sigh.
ちょっとあんたね。
Kazumi held back June as the latter snarled angrily.
そんなことよりまずは AD を投与しましょう。
あ、そうか。そうしなきゃまずいぞ。
AD？ 何のこと？
We ain't explaining it again, lady. We done heard it 5,000 times now.
AD というのはつまり
Kazumi explained AD to the woman. She also told her about the radiation filling the facility, the danger standards, and the Procyon. The woman's attitude took a complete 180 after she'd heard all that.
放射線？
ええ。なお放射線障害の自覚症状は内臓、皮膚、目に現れやすいです。嘔吐感、皮膚の痛み、視界の霞などはありませんか？
とりあえず大丈夫みたいだけど。
よかった。今から AD 打てばきっと大丈夫だ。
でも早くした方がいいよ。そうしないとその憎まれ口も叩けなくなっちゃうから。
わかったわ。これを打てばいいのね。
そうそう、素直でよろしい。
Jen held out the 80 to the woman. She proceeded to quickly inject herself with it.
これでいいのよね。
She was now a lot calmer and quieter, showing no signs of the hysterical woman that had been yelling at them just a few minutes ago. It seemed she finally understood the situation she was in.
ところで、あんた
Okay,
は名
surely
前は
this
なんて言うんだ？
audio is like way too fucking loud, right? I'm sorry that I keep like pausing and shit, but I mean that is really loud.
椿山えなよ。あなた方は？
The group promptly answered Anna's question.
私は副隊長の立花。こちらは森部隊員です。
で、こっちがさっき救助した民間人の有利だよ。
民間人？私以外にもこの事故に巻き込まれた人がいたの？
Yuri gave this timid answer, then followed up with a question of her own.
先生はどうしてここに？
Yuri politely referred to Anna as professor. Anna appeared to be used to being called that, as she answered Yuri's question without the slightest hint of awkwardness.
私はここの職員に呼ばれてきたのよ。そうしたらいきなり爆発が起きて、みんながパニックになって、よくわからないうちにここに閉じ込められちゃったの。
そいつは災難だったな。
何よ人事みたいに。レスキュー隊ってのはもっと要救助者に親身になるものじゃないの？
Oh,
そうかな。
what was it, V, right? Okay, so the only one we have to do anything with. So I'm guessing this is going to be like how we respond to her then, right? So we're probably either going to be like, shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch! What do you know about me? What do you know? Or we're going to be like, alright, yeah, whatever, cool. I'll crank her up a little bit. I mean, I don't have a reason to, like, hate her. But at the same time, I don't know, I just have a feeling about her. I'll crank it up a little bit, just enough. We'll lock it in, Anna glared at Watase.
そういえば、あなただけまだ名乗ってないわね。 あなたは何？
あ、俺は笠崎渡瀬。一応この隊の隊長だ。
隊長さんなの？一応ってなんだか頼りなさそうだけど。
そう突っかからないでくれ。こんな状況じ
Can I still change
ゃ
it?
イライラするのもわかるがな。
Oh, no, I can't. Whatever, whatever, whatever.
何よ、やっぱりあなた一言じゃない。
Watase winced and shut his mouth as Anna nagged at him. But still, isn't it a bit odd for a high school teacher to be in a place like this? Watase quietly stared at Anna's face.
何隊長さん、私の顔に何かついてる？
ああ、いや別にそういうわけじゃないんだが。
Kazumi spoke up as Watase awkwardly tried to cover up for himself.
それでは先に進みましょう。
I already don't
他
like
にも
Anna.
要救助者がいるかもしれません。
And that is strange. What the... I mean, there's already... What is Yuri doing down here? I think she mentioned it in the last episode, but obviously I played that a fucking eon ago. So aside from Yuri, what is Anna doing here? It'd be one thing if it was like, oh, it's a school trip, but she just said one of the workers summoned me here. So that would tell me she's either got to be... I mean, like, clearly she has to be some kind of expert in her field, right? I mean, she mentioned that Rokame High School or Academy is like a specialty school. So I would think maybe she specializes in radioactive energy research or something like that. And so she was summoned here as like a favor. But obviously she's not being, like, we don't know much about her, and she's not exactly being fucking nice. She's being a big meanie poopy pants, so. The group started walking again at that suggestion. There was a security gate at the end of the passageway, but a swipe of the security card quickly took care of it. I'm surprised these security things still work. And with that, the group of 5 entered Area 3. Area 3 Inner Ring B2. This area was considerably different from all the other floors. The walls were made of unfaced concrete, and the ceiling steel frame and cables were completely exposed. Watase checked his Procon to read that it displayed 1381 MSV. 1381 MSV.
よし、ここも安全みたいだな。
It's creeping up, man. So we're clearly getting closer to wherever the source of this is coming from.
安全ね。本来なら異常な線量なんでしょうけど。
AD がある限りは大丈夫ってことだよ。それにこのエリアは幸い火の気もなさそうだし。
But the moment Jun said that,
この映像はなんで彼らが
the group heard a voice coming from somewhere.
人がいるみたいですね。
ああ、
Watase thought he heard a voice coming from the room right in front of him. The door was labeled surveillance room.
おい、ここにいるのか。
A voice filled with surprise echoed in reply to Watase's unconscious shouts.
その声は隊長さんか？
何？あんた、俺を知ってるのか？
知ってるも何も。
Someone was talking to him from the other side of the door. However, Watase didn't recognize the speaker's voice. Well, this would have been the guy that we left at the very beginning, because in that little beginning cutscene, we were like, he was like, oh, I have to go down there to help them. And then he was like, you're going by yourself, Captain? No, you can't go by yourself. And he's like, oh, I'll be back. I do remember that, specifically because it had all like the surveillance screens and everything up there. Someone was talking to him from the other side of the door. However, Watase didn't recognize the speaker's voice. Who is it? Watase timidly opened the door. Standing on the other side was a man in a lab coat.
隊長さん、戻ってきたのか。
What the fuck is this? Fucking five head! God damn! Jesus Christ! Kazumi and Jun's eyes simultaneously widened as soon as they heard the man's voice.
浮田さん。
なんでおじさんがここにいるの？
君たちも一緒に？
The man named Ukita said this with bewilderment.
ちょっと待ってくれ。お前らもこの人と知り合いなのか？
ええ。先週この方が自動車事故に遭遇したところを我々が救助したんです。
まさかおじさん、 2週続けて事故とか災害に遭遇してたってわけ？
ああ、僕もこんな事態になるなんて夢にも思っていなかったがね。
A bitter look appeared on Ukida's face as they said that. I don't really know the circumstances, but anyone would be bitter over having luck this bad 2 weeks in a row. And if Kazumi and Jun had saved him once before, then it made sense that I had known him as well.
なるほどな。ところであんた、避難に遅れちまったのか？
ね、何をふざけたことを言ってるんだね。僕をこのエリアに閉じ込めたのは君じゃないか。
Oh? Watase froze in confusion at the angry look that had suddenly appeared on the man's face.
ちょっと待ってくれ。詳しい事情を教えてくれないか？
君が一番よく知ってるんじゃないの
So
か
I
ね。
guess this wasn't that scene that I was talking about.
それが、実は少し前に頭を強く打ったらしく、記憶が混濁してるんだ。
記憶が混濁してるだと？
Ukida wasn't the only one to react to Wasate's explanation.
ちょっと聞いてないわよ。まさか記憶喪失ってやつ？映画じゃあるまいし、そんなことってあるの？
いや、二人が信じられないのもわかるが、
映画などに出てくる長期的な記憶喪失は極めて稀ですが、短期的な記憶の混濁ならば起こり得ないことではありません。
Kazumi came to Watase's defense at the perfect time. Ukida spent a long time looking doubtfully at Watase, but eventually came to a decision and spoke.
わかったよ。ここは信じるとしようじゃないか。
ありがとう。あんたは？
ああ、僕は浮田刑事。見ての通り、このラボの研究員だ。
Keiji Ukida? The name sounded familiar to Watase. He thought his memories were coming back for a moment, but that wasn't the case. For he'd seen the words Keiji Ukida after he'd woken up. It was the first name that had been written on one of the cards he found earlier.
じゃあ、このカード、
あ、やはり君が持っていたのか。
Ukida swiped the card out of Watase's hands.
よ、浮田さん。どうして俺はあんたからカードを奪ったんだっけ？
なんだか妙な質問だが、まあいい。
Yeah, I'm interested now.
さて、どう説明したものやら。
We took the card from him and locked him in here. Ukida thought for a bit before he began to talk.
僕は同僚たちが全員避難する中、なんとかこの事態を収拾しようと思ったんだ。それがここの職員の責務だと思ってね。だがまるでうまくいかず、まごまごしているうちにケース N が発令されて、愕然としていたところ隊長さんに会ったんだ。今から2時間くらい前のことかな。
隊長はその時何と言っていましたか？
俺が出口を探してくる。だが火災が激しくて危険だからあんたはこの部屋で待機しているように。I'm sorry, it's so funny. We have these two absolute baddies, bro. I mean, like, look at these girls. Look at these girls. And then there's this fucking, like, six head over here, bro. Like, it's so drastically contrasting. It's honestly distracting.
でも僕はそれを聞き入れなかった。パニックになって暴れてしまったのさ。だから隊長さんは僕からカードを
Oh, okay, so we weren't doing it. Okay, so we're not like some secret villain or something then.
まあ僕を案じてのことだったとは思うが、あまりに一方的だったものでね。それで僕は腹を立てていたんだよ。
うわあ、隊長ってば融通の利かないとこあるからな。
そうだったのか。それはすまないことをした。おそらくすぐ戻ってくるつもりだったんだろうが。
いや、もういいんだ。ところでそちらの女性たちは？
Ukida glanced at Anna and Yuri as he said this.
私は椿山エナ。この施設に呼ばれてやってきた高校教師よ。
私、ユーリ。
Oh yeah, that's right. She's one of the researchers'
家族です。
her family.
教師に家族か。
教師、家族。
だが妙だな。この施設は警備が厳重で、そうそう地下フロアまでは入れないようになっているはずなんだ、ね。
The fuck are these girls doing here?
そうなのか？どういうことだ、二人とも。
Anna grew exasperated at the rest of the group's confusion.
そんなのこっちが聞きたいわよ。なんで早朝から呼び出されたのかもわからないんだもの。横柄な職員の人に地下に通された直後、 例の爆発が起きてわけわかんないうちに閉じ込められたの。
職員？
野島さんとか言ったかしら。あの人ここで待ってなさいとか言ってさっさとどこかに行っちゃったわ。まったく冗談じゃないわよ。
そう、私もそんな感じです。
Hold on, I'm finna say real quick. Finna say real quick, man. Okay.
なんか昨日の夜遅くお迎えが来て地下フロアに泊まるように言われて。
What?
寝て起きたらこんなことになっていて、お母さんもいないし、私もう怖くて。
何よ。だったら私たちは巻き込まれた被害者じゃない。あれこれ詮索される言われなんてないわよ。
そうか。それはすまない。
Ukita seemed to be pondering something as he said that. Oh. Kazumi cut into the conversation as she gave him a curious glance. Well, I didn't change anything there. I just didn't feel like anything needed to be changed. But that is curious because it's like that is a very valid question. So it's like these two are, for one, not even supposed to be down here, yet they are. And then Anna's even more strange than Yuri because it's like, okay, so she was called here for some reason, was brought down to the basement, and then just left there. And then the explosions happened. And then Yuri was just told to sleep in the basement, and then the explosion happened. So it's like, these two being here is really such a mystery. I'm, like, Yuri's story is a little bit more convincing just because it's like, okay, you know, sure, like there's offices and stuff down here, I could maybe see it. Anna's is strange, mainly because it's like, why did they call her here?
ところでウキタさん、AD の投与はお済みですか？
あ、AD か。隊長さんにもらったのを投与していたが、もうすべて使い切ってしまった。最後に投与したのは1時間近く前だ。
As expected, a researcher like Ukita knew all about AD.
ならこれを使ってくれ。
Watase handed Ukita an AD. The latter practically snatched it out of his hand and injected himself with it. We're getting short on these things. I think we had like 7 or something, so we're already down to like about 5. And our group is now, what, we have June, the other girl that I forgot her name, the other rescuer girl, Ukita, Anna, Yuri, and Watase. So that's already 6 people, and we're down to about 5. If I'm remembering how much we had correctly.
ちょっとこのモニターを見てくれないか。え？実は状況を把握するために監視カメラの映像記録を調べていたんだが、ちょっと気になる映像があってね。
そういえば先ほどそんな独り言をおっしゃってましたね。
気になる映像って何？
これは6時21分、第2エリアの映像なんだが。
Ukita operated the control panel. A second later, the monitor displayed an image taken by the surveillance cameras. Oh? The frozen image depicted 3 children. Huh. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure this guy is who we would be playing as once we do the other route. Because I think this is... I forget which one we're doing right now. I forget if it's Route A or Route B. But this is who we'd be playing as then. Interesting. There was a boy with glasses and a blonde girl. They couldn't make out the face of the last one, but it appeared to be a girl as well. They were all wearing what appeared to be school uniforms. It was then that Anna and June both spoke up at the same time.
嘘。どうして天川くんたちがここに？
じゃあこっちはましろちゃんとルイーズちゃん
2人とも知ってるのか？
もちろん。3人とも私が副担任を務めるクラスの生徒よ。
私はあの子たちとは先週たまたま知り合って。
なんだって？
Watase's surprise only furthered when Ukita's following comment.
実を言うと、 僕もこの3人の子供たちとは面識があるんだ。
どういう関係なんだ？
まず僕とこの少年は家が隣同士なのさ。それに少年の母親もこの施設に勤めていてね。
じゃあ彼らはその母親に会いに来たのか？
さあ、それは僕にもわからないが、ともかく他にも同様の映像がいくつかあるんだ。そして最後の映像は7時12分、第5エリアの映像だよ。
When he heard that, Watase instantly understood what Ukita was getting at.
待てよ。7時12分の映像という
And
こ
they
と
were trapped down here too.
隔壁が降
obviously.
りたのは7時頃のはずだから。
ああ、ここにいる6名以外に少なくともあと3名このラボに閉じ込められているということだ。
何？
Watase looked back at the image on the monitors. What were they doing here? Did they really come here to visit the boy's mother? Or was there some other reason?
先生、この高校生たちの名前は？
男の子が天川夏彦くん、あとの女の子2人は鳥羽真白さんと三宮ルイーズゆいさんよ。
All those names sounded vaguely familiar to him. He felt a kinship for them, like he'd known them for a long time. Could it be that I went down to the basement to save these kids? He turned to Ukita as he pondered that. Okay, so there's... I mean, like, obviously those characters are going to be really important. That's, like, you know, that's a given. But it's interesting that all of us know them. Right? It's like coincidence? It's like, oh, Ukita knows them. Or it's like, I would expect Anna to know them. Yuri... Oh, wait, no, Yuri doesn't know him. But Jun, okay. Ukita too? Alright. And us? You know... One time is a coincidence. Well, no, 2 times is a coincidence. 3 times is... I don't know. Anyways, that's really fucking weird that we all know them. And then obviously they're down here. Damn. I mean, the most blaring question right now is, what the fuck are all of us doing down here, man? I mean, even with Watase, it's like, okay, sure, he's a rescue worker, but clearly he showed some favoritism toward Yuri. Like, it seems, as far as my understanding has been, for some reason, Watase was specifically trying to save Yuri. Ran into some kind of monster. Lost his memory. Some shit happened to him. Then for some reason, Yuri's here. And for some reason, she's not, like, she's not revealed the fact that she was with us before we lost our memory. For some reason, Enna's down here. And she's a school teacher. She's not just a school teacher. She's a substitute school teacher who's been called here for some random fucking reason. Again, back to Yuri. Why the fuck is she down here? And then it's like, what is happening, man?
この3人が閉じ込められてるってのは確実なのか？
まあ、おそらくそうだとは思うが、確認はできない。
Ukita pointed to a phone in the corner of the room.
緊急用の電話も死んでるんでね。PDA も通話不能だ。
私たちも試したんだけどね。やっぱりダメなのか。
Anna suddenly perked her head up when she heard that.
そうだ。誰か BC を使える人はいないの？
BC？
そうよ。テレパシーとか。それで外と通信すれば少しは状況がわかると思うのだけど。
テレパシーって。
Watase's eyes widened at the totally out of place word.
先生、こんな時に何の冗談だ？
あら、隊長さんの記憶障害も深刻ね。そんなことも忘れてしまったの？テレパシーを使える人なんて
What the fuck?
珍しいことではないわよ。
What? Excuse me? Okay, top secret government cities. Nuclear research facilities. Some kind of strange shape-shifting monster Among Us style running around. And now telepathy?
マジか。
Watase looked at the others in total shock, but he was the only one surprised there.
立花、 先生の言ってることは本当か？
ええ、本当です。ここで言うテレパシーというのは、離れた場所にいる人に声を届ける能力です。確かにテレパシーを使えれば外と連絡もできるとは思いますが。
でも珍しくないとは言ってもさ、実際に使えるのは500人に1人って割合だよ。それに BC の使い手はなぜか子供に多く、大人で使える人は輪をかけて稀なんだ。隊長はもちろんレスキュー隊に使える人はいなかったよ。
もちろん僕も使えない。ユーリ君はどうだね？
私無理です。 BC 苦手なんです。
Everyone had answered with a serious look on their faces. It was still hard for him to believe, but after seeing their reactions, it seemed Watase had no choice but to accept it as truth.
本当なんだな。じゃあ他の超能力を使える人はいるのか？例えばあれだ、瞬間移動とか念力とか。
できるわけないでしょ。そういうのはオカルトの領域だわ。
テレパシーはオカルトじゃないのかよ。
BC は科学的に存在が立証された能力よ。超のつかないね。BC とはビヨンドコミュニケーション、言葉を介さずに行う一種のコミュニケーション手段。要は離れたところにいる人と意思を伝え合う能力よ。それ以外のことはできないわ。
It appeared that this BC had very limited uses, but even if what she was saying was true,
まあ確かにテレパシーでも何でも使えた方が便利だろうけど、500人に1人の人材が都合よくここにいるわけないよな。
でもあの子たちはテレパシーが使えるのよ。
じゃあ彼らがいれば外と通信できるのか？
いればだけどね。ああ、もう情けないわ。私が使えれば話が早いのに。
just then, Ina's words were cut off by the sudden sound of a voice and white noise echoing throughout the room.
なんだ？
無線です。久しぶりに外と通信がつながったようです。
Kazumi took out her PDA and spoke directly into it.
カンアリ、シリウス A チーム副隊長、立花です。
立花、ようやく無線が復帰したようだな。
ですが、相変わらず通話状況は
Yeah,
極
it
め
could
て
cut
不安
off
定
any
です。
moment, so let's explain our situation. Like, come on, we're wasting time.
では、手短に報告せよ。そちらの現況は？
はい、現在我々は
Kazumi then told Commander Murakami everything that had transpired up until that point, about how they'd reunited with Watase and then saved Yuri, Anna, and Ukita. It appeared she was keeping Watase's amnesia a secret for now. Once Kazumi had finished her report, Commander Murakami paused, then spoke again in a defeated voice.
そうか。やはり A チームは全員地下に降りていたのか。
では、堂島と檜山もやはり地上にはいないのですね。
ああ、地上と地下で完全に分断されてしまったようだな。
Kazumi listened calmly to Commander Murakami's solemn voice before speaking again.
それより司令長、隔壁が降りた理由について何か聞いていないでしょうか？
実はこちらでも情報が錯綜しているんだが、まず伝えるべきことがある。
Watch, this is where the communication is going to cut out.
地下にある原子炉がメルトダウンを起こした。これは確実のようだ。
やはり
6時19分の爆発発生直後、ラボの技術者は地上フロアの遠隔制御室から原子炉の緊急停止作業を開始した。だがそれから通常では考えられないような事態が次々と発生した。一次冷却水の循環不全、水圧調整系の故障、ベントの駆動停止等。技術者たちは全力を尽くしメルトダウンを阻止しようとしたが、必死の努力も虚しく、それは起きてしまった。そして隔壁が閉まった原因もここにある。メルトダウンと同時に放射能漏洩防止システムが作動したんだ。
放射能漏洩防止システム。
ああ、放射性物質の拡散を防ぐためにな。
ではその隔壁なんですが、一時的にでも開けていただくことはできないんでしょうか？
Expectation filled the group's faces when they heard Kazumi's suggestion. However,
それが言い難いんだが、現状それは不可能とのことなんだ。
不可能？なぜ？
どうやら原子炉のある N エリアで 今もメルトダウンによる大火災が続いているらしく、そのためにセキュリティシステムが暴走し、外部からアクセスできなくなっているそうだ。火災が静まればシステム暴走も止まるらしいが、N エリアの自動消火システムはすでに破壊
So
されており、
basically, we have to get to Area N, extinguish the fire, and then manually open it.
なので現在ラボ関係者が総力を挙げてシステムの復旧を図っているが、
復旧までにはどのくらいかかりそうなんですか？
予想ではあと
Damn,
約9時
9
間との
hours.
ことだ。
So let's break it down here. In our group of 6, we need to last 9 hours. So if we do a little bit of math, which I'm gonna use a calculator for this, I don't give a fuck. We're gonna need 54 vials of AD in order to last as a group for 9 hours. Where the fuck are we gonna get that much AD? Everyone gasped at the words 9 hours.
冗談ではありません。核壁を爆破してでも脱出口を開いてください。
すまない立花、それはできないんだ。
どうして C4 爆弾を使えばいいではないですか。
地上と地下を隔てる床と隔壁は80構造の耐熱対衝撃複合鋼板だ。 C4 程度ではどうにもならん。水蒸気爆発や水素爆発にも耐えられるように設計されているんだ。我々の装備程度では。
Damn. The normally composed Kazami was in total shock.
要救助者が多数いるんです。どうにかならないのですか。
こちらでも手は尽くすが、時間の。
Suddenly, his voice started to only come through in bursts.
司令長、声が途切れてます。
通信が不安定だ。時間がない。ラボ関係者からの伝言を伝える。
The commander apparently realized that the transmission was reaching its limits as he started talking much faster without pausing.
時代に備え、施設内の各所に AD が設置してある。それを投与し続けろ。そして汚染区域に近づくな。そうすれば必ず生き延びられる。
His voice was full of grief and pain. Kazumi quietly listened to him with a bitter look on her face.
ぞ立花、草関や森部と協力し。
司令長、また声が。
ないのか。通信がまた限界を。
司令長、司令長。
Kazumi desperately called out to him, but the only reply she got was the cruel hiss of static from the radio. Damn. Kazumi grimly put her PDA away. The rest of the group, full of panic, all began speaking at the same time.
復旧まで9時間。
長すぎるわよ。なんでそんなことに。
メルトダウンを起こした原子炉がすぐそばにあるってのに。
Staying in an environment like that for 9 hours was an insane idea to all of them, and it didn't look like they could expect the reinforcements that Kazumi had been counting on, not anytime soon, that is. Wadase then spoke with a cracked voice.
浮田さん、
なんだね。
放射能漏洩防止システムってのは何なんだ。それのせいで核壁が開かないって。なんで人がまだ地下にいるのにそんなものが作動したんだ。
Well, that's kind of a silly question, isn't it?
メルトダウンって一体何なんだ。
It's like, I mean, that's literally like saying if there's a nuclear bomb about to go off in 5 seconds, then why doesn't the nuclear bomb containment protocol wait the 10 seconds it's going to take for everybody to get out, you know?
教えてくれ。俺も漠然としかその恐ろしさを知らないんだよ。
Ukida hesitantly looked around at everyone else, then sighed.
知らない人もいるだろうから説明しておいた方が良さそうだな。極めてかいつまんで説明するがいいかね。
はあ、頼む。
Basically, reactor go blah, 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 blah. With those words as a signal, Ukida began to quietly explain.
メルトダウンとはつまり原子炉の炉心が異常な高温になり融解してしまう現象のことだ。通常そんなことが起こらないように原子炉の中で燃焼している核燃料は絶えず冷却されるべきなのだが、冷却が適切になされなかった場合、炉心の耐熱性を上回る熱量が発生し原子炉そのものが破損する。そして灼熱した核燃料が外部に放出されるんだ。
N エリアで起こってる大火災ってやつの原因はそれか。
ああ、おそらく莫大な熱量を持つ核燃料が周囲の可燃物を炎上させたんだな。溶け落ちた核燃料は摂氏3000度超の凄まじい高温を発し、あらゆるものを燃やしてしまう。
今も火災が続いているということは、破損の程度は大きいのでしょうか。
そう考えて間違いはないだろう。自動消火システムが破壊されていることから見るに、爆発なども起きている可能性がある。核燃料が何らかの水分に触れれば水蒸気爆発などが起こるからね。N エリアは灼熱と爆風の地獄と化しているはずさ。
Don't smile while you say that, dude. A stiff smile rose to Ukida's face as he said all this.
そして核燃料とは言うまでもなく放射性物質だ。原子炉から放出されたそれは放射線を周囲にまき散らす。実例を挙げるなら、そう、チェルノブイリ原発事故というのを知ってるかね。
It was only a matter of time before Chernobyl was brought up.
いや、
No! Oh, brother. The name didn't ring any bells to him. Ukida sighed and continued.
もう半世紀近くも前にロシアで起きた人類史上最大のク
See,
ライシス
that's
だ。
the thing. And I mean, I said this in the first episode, but I'm pretty sure that Watase is in. I don't think this is amnesia. I think quite literally somebody has, like, essentially taken control of his body. Right? Like, he is literally somebody else right now. In more than he has amnesia, he's not himself anymore. Like, no, literally, like, somebody else is taking over his body.
原子力発電所で使用されていた原子炉がメルトダウンし、水蒸気爆発が発生。10トンにも及ぶ放射性物質が原子炉建屋の外にまき散らされたんだ。これは広島型原爆の500倍の量にあたり、それによる死者は膨大な数に上った。原発職員や事故処理に当たった消防士など3000人が死亡。そしてその後も増え続けた。最終的な死者数は今となってはわからないが、数十万人にも及ぶとさえ言われている。
数十万。なんでそんなに死者が。
その原因がまさに放射性物質なのさ。死の灰とも呼ばれるそれは爆発と火災により空に舞い上がって雨とともに地表に降り注いだんだ。わかるかね。真に恐ろしいのはこの点だ。今この地下に満ちている放射線が周辺地域全体に広がるという点が。
その死の灰ってのが漏れると施設の外も汚染されちまうってことか。
その通りだ。事実チェルノブイリ原発の周辺は以後900年にわたり人の住めない土地となった。故にメルトダウン発生時の緊急処置というのは過去に国内外で発生した N 災害の教訓を生かし、放射性物質の拡散を抑えることを第一義に考える風潮が強まった。だからこの施設ではメルトダウンが起きたら全ての核壁が自動で閉まるようになっているのさ。ケース N というのはつまり核壁強制閉鎖を知らせるコードだよ。
そういうことだったのか。
It was true that if the nuclear reactor was shielded by the unparalleled strength of composite steel plates, then it'd be able to easily handle a meltdown in the rare case of one. If the facility had been made of, say, normal reinforced concrete instead, then it would have most likely collapsed completely in the event of a steam explosion. So perhaps they'd made the facility into what was essentially one giant heavy metal box, so that all they'd have to do in times of emergency was simply close the lid, sealing everything inside into an airtight container. Though he could understand the logic behind that.
でも閉じ込められた人たちはどうなるんだ。
そうよ、脱出口はないの？エアダクトとか。今こうして呼吸ができるということは空気の通り道はあるんでしょ？
いや、エアダクト内の各所には放射性物質ろ過装置が設置されている。当然人は通れない。エアダクトからの脱出は不可能だ。
そこまで念入りに。
そうとも。どこの原子力関連施設もそうだが、安全面には極めて配慮してある。今このラボの地下フロアは外界と完全に隔絶されている。灰一粒外に漏らさないようにね。だから先ほどの通信で言っていたように AD を投与しながら核壁の解放を待つしか。
But before Ukida could finish his sentence, Jun cut in.
待ってよ、浮田さん。悠長に待ってるわけにはいかないみたいだよ。
なんだね。
Jun responded by taking her Procyon out of her breast pocket.
このプロキオンの数値見て。
Jesus, it's literally climbed
1605ミリシーベルトになって。
over 200 MSVs. since we first made the reading.
だけど核壁封鎖の直後はまだ100ミリシーベルト前後だった。場所によって多少上下するみたいだけど、徐々に数値は上がってるんだよ。
何？
Now that he thought about it, she was right. The reading he'd seen when he'd first looked at a Procon was about 1,100 MSV. The reading really had increased in the short amount of time that had passed since then.
どういうことだ、浮田さん。なんで数値が上がるんだ。
施設外に放射性物質を拡散させないようにはなってても、施設内は何の対策もしてないの？
いや、僕にもわからん。
わからないって。
各エリアを隔てるセキュリティゲートも核兵器と同様放射性物質の拡散を防ぐためにしかし例の爆発や火災のせいでゲートや内壁があちこち破損しているのかもしれない。ひょっとしたらエアダクト内のろ過装置も壊れているのかも。
何よそれ。安全面への配慮が効いて呆れる
They're
わ。
grilling the fuck out of him right now. And his eyebrows raised sharply as she accosted Ukida.
人がまだ地下に残っているのに勝手に核壁を封鎖しておいて、しかも開けられない。放射線はどんどん強くなる。電話も無線通信も使えない。エレベーターも動かなければ消火システムも役立たず。どこを見ても穴だらけじゃないの。何が放射能漏洩防止システムよ。
Okay, let's do something here. So I feel like in this case scenario, I mean, I get both sides, right? Like, if I was just randomly called here on the off chance, wasn't even told why, and then all of a sudden I've come to find out that, no, I'm trapped out here, and death is slowly but very surely creeping its way up to me, right? Like, I've been trapped in a giant box that's slowly filling with highly deadly and highly toxic radiation. I would be fucking pissed off too. But I also get this guy, right? Like, he's just a worker. It's not like he designed this stuff and put it in place, so I don't know. Right now I just don't really have a reason to hate anybody. I'm like, don't get me wrong, I think Enna's very aggressive, and I do think that she needs to calm the fuck down, but I don't think it's necessarily so much to the point that, you know, she's not justified in her anger.
Mm. 確かに安全面に多少の不備があったことは認めるが、システムの暴走や爆発などは想定外の出来事で、
その想定外の出来事が起きないようにするのが安全面への配慮でしょ。
待て先生、
落ち着けって。落ち着いていられるわけがないじゃない。私だけならまだしも、私の生徒まで閉じ込められているのに。
Oh. Taken aback, Watase glanced at the monitors again. Those three were also stuck in this unforgivingly harsh environment. Let me say real quick. With no one having come to their aid and pursued by the fires and fear of the radiation around them, there were no adults still running around trying to find a way out. Oh, there were no doubt still trying to run around and find a way out.
せめて一刻も早く彼らの元に AD を届けなくちゃ。
Ah, okay. I see. So helper, achiever, individualist, and enthusiast. So obviously we still have yet to meet these people. Now they have these character types. Cancel all their values and close it. Yes, for right now. Senses maybe. Oh no, just bring it back to that. I want to see. That just says that. Senses, sympathy. So I'm guessing this could potentially be something where we're like super sympathetic, obviously, and like, oh yeah, you know, you're right, let's go find these people and hunt them down. I want everybody to live, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea to go find these kids, because clearly they're going to be important, right? Let's crank it up. Let's crank it up. Boom. Anna sounded on the verge of tears. She may have looked harsh on the surface, but when it came down to it, she really was a teacher. She couldn't help but be worried about her students.
先生、すぐに彼らを探しに行こう。
Watase and Anna tried to run out of the room, but were stopped by a sharp voice.
二人ともお待ちください。
立花さん、どうして止めるの？
彼らを捜索する前にまだ一つ踏まえておかねばならない問題が彼らと合流できたとしても全員が生き延びるためには1時間ごとに9本の AD が必要でしょう。ですが我々に残された AD は彼らに届けるどころかこのままでは我々6人だけでも次の1時間を生き延びることもできないんです。
That's why we need to move. Everyone gasped.
5本って
Listen,
それしかないの？
at this point, my thinking would be this. We don't have enough AD to survive the 9 hours before they'd maybe be able to get the system back up to open the bulkheads. So it's like, we're either gonna sit here, run out of AD and split in fucking record time, and slowly die to the radiation poisoning, or we're gonna move our asses, find more AD, and maybe find the students, and then proceed from there. That's my thinking. I wouldn't be sitting here arguing over the morality and logistics. It's like, listen, dude, we're either gonna die, or we're gonna try not to die. So let's pick the fucking option where we don't just sit back and wither away, and let's start moving, right? Like, come on.
申し訳ありません。このような事態を予想していなかったものですから。
準備が足りなすぎるわよ。あなたたちレスキュー隊なんでしょ？
Hey man, I agree. And the thing is, we weren't even equipped with this stuff. This stuff was given to us by the Labo workers.
申し訳ありません。
Watase gritted his teeth as he listened to the cycle of blame and apologies and questioning and antagonism fly around him. Could this situation possibly get any worse? They needed 6 AD per hour to keep the entire group safe from radiation exposure, and they would need one more for each survivor that they rescued. If it hadn't felt like they'd been so low on AD right after they'd saved Yuri, but with Teach and Mr. Ukita with us now, we'd finally come up short. He didn't know how the situation had gotten so bad, nor did he have time to think about it. But the next course of action was clear.
つまり、俺たちは3名の要救助者を捜索しつつ、人数分の AD を見つけなきゃいけない。
Yes, there you go.
ええ、それもできるだけ早くです。
Kazumi looked back at the monitors.
彼らの累積被曝量が致死量を超える前に。
累積被曝量
Kazumi quickly answered Watase's question.
放射線を受けた量というものは体の中に蓄積していきます。その合計値が累積被曝量です。プロキオンに表示されるのはその場所にいた時1時間あたりどれくらい被曝するかの量。つまり現在の環境下では1時間あたり1605ミリシーベルト被曝するということです。累積被曝量が2000ミリシーベルトに至った場合、致死率は約 5%、 4000ミリシーベルトなら致死率は約 50%、 そして8000ミリシーベルトに至れば 99% 死亡します。つまり累積被曝量が上がるほど死のリスクも加速度的に高まるのです。そして一度累積した被曝量はすぐには減ることはありません。
Which meant that if they didn't get themselves any AD in this environment, the cumulative exposure would reach 4,000 MSV in 2.5 hours, and 8,000 MSV in 5 hours. If we don't find more AD, we'll all be dead before the lockdown can be lifted. Ukita then spoke as his thought crossed Watase's mind.
だが AD は4000ミリシーベルトまでの放射線量をほぼ完全に無害化する。さらに8000ミリシーベルトまでの環境下でも延命効果は極めて高い。 AD さえ投与しておけば累積被曝量は増加しないんだ。
それは間違いないのか。できれば確証が欲しいんだが。
信じがたいだろうが全面的に信用してくれ。 AD は我がラボの最高傑作だ。安定ヨウ素材、キレート剤、プルシアンブルーなど9種の高放射性物質薬に医療用ナノマシンを加えた全身被曝予防剤。それは静脈から注射することで全身を巡り、細胞、血液、神経、遺伝子を保護する。胃や肺などの粘膜にも3分で行き渡り、放射性物質の吸収を完全にカット。さらに各放射性物質と化合し無害化した上で
Alright, but you don't have to sell it to us,
海外
dude.
に排出する。その劇的な有効性を知っているから僕もこんなに落ち着いているんだ。さもなきゃもっとパニックになってるさ。
そうか。
Ukida's voice and expression both seemed totally honest. So basically, they could survive so long as they kept administering AD. But their bodies would get closer and closer to death with each passing moment once its effects wore off.
じゃあこんなところでごちゃごちゃ言い合ってる
That's
場
what
合
I'm
じゃないね。
saying. We've spent way too long sitting around here yelling at each other.
施設内に残っている AD をかき集めて夏彦くんたちの元にも届けなきゃ。
なあ浮田さん、監視カメラを使って要救助者を探せないか。
そうだよ。もしくは館内放送で呼び出すとか。
いや、それが放送は使えなくなってるし、カメラもほとんどが壊れてしまっているようなのだよ。
壊れたってどうして？
火災や爆発の影響だろうね。映像記録も多くのデータが消えている。残っているいくつかの映像から察するに、彼らは第6エリア方面へ移動していたようだが。
第6エリアか。
Meaning they'd be heading to an area much further ahead than this one. But just knowing that wasn't enough.
むしろちょうどいい。あの3人以外にも要救助者がいる可能性がある。その要救助者を全て助けるためには全エリアを隅々まで捜索する必要があるからな。
ええ、第1エリアと第2エリアはすでに捜索済みです。この第3エリアから第6エリアまで捜索しながら進めば、
Oh,
す
did
べ
we
ての
get
エリアを捜索したことに
a
なり
level
ます。
6 pass? I guess we did.
堂島先輩や檜山先輩もそのどこかにいるはずだよ。あの2人もそれぞれ支給された AD を持ってるし、隊長と並んで有能な人たちだ。合流できれば心強いよ。
よし、立花、森部、早速行動を開始しよう。
Anna then turned to them with a firm voice.
私も行くわ。
全員で捜索しながら進んだ方が効率がいいだろう。
There's no point in leaving anybody behind or anything unless there's an actual like fire that we need to fight. In which case, then yeah, stand back. But definitely don't leave anybody behind.
しかし民間の方々に手伝ってもらうわけには。
I'm gonna leave my stuff as is. I don't feel like we need to like change this.
そういうことを言ってる場合じゃないでしょ。
そうとも。それに僕はラボ内のことにも詳しい。多少は役にも立てるだろう。
私も何もできない。
Even Yukida and Yuri were siding with Anna. Tachibana, what should we do? Wadase sent a glance over to Kazumi. It was at that moment that Jun spoke with a voice bursting with energy.
副隊長、今はルールより実を取ろう。みんなもやる気になってくれてるしさ。
確かにそうせざるを得ま
That's
せん。
what I'm saying. Kazumi nodded after a moment's hesitation. And thus, 6 wills became one to accomplish the same goal, to survive. And also, to rescue the survivors. They had to act as soon as possible in order to fulfill these
だっ
tasks.
たら急ごう。具体的にどう捜索する？
プロキオンもセキュリティカードも2つしかありませんから、ここは二手に分かれて捜索しましょう。
チーム分けは？
バランスを考えて、まずは私と隊長とユーリさんが組みましょう。
了解だ。
わかりました。じゃあこっちは私と椿山さんと浮田さんだね。
ええ。
僕も異論なしだ。
では我々は内周島を捜索しますので、森部のチームは外周島をお願いします。捜索対象は全部で4つ。要救助者と AD、 そしてできれば第5エリアに進むためのレベル5のセキュリティカードと脱出経路です。 AD
Oh, do we not
は
have that yet?
鉄
I
製
guess
の
we
メ
didn't.
ディカルボックスに入ってます。
Oh, we have a map though, right? No. Okay, never mind. We don't have a map. My bad. Sorry, I even fucking tried. Would you say the 80 are being stored in iron medical boxes? Some might be lying around in a passageway or somewhere like that, so check them carefully.
時間が差し迫っているので急いで。しかし 決して焦らず身の安全に重々留意してください。それでは皆さんよろしくお願いします。
And so, with Kazumi's words having sparked a fire in the mall, the group ran out of the surveillance room. Finally, Jesus fucking Christ. Spent way too long in there. Watase, Kazumi, and Yuri immediately began searching Area 3's inner ring. They first ran into the nearest room. It was a somewhat large laboratory. Deeper inside was a space that seemed to be for a rest area, a guard's room, or possibly a conference room.
では捜索開始。時間は1分でお願いします。
あ
Let's go! The group split up and searched the room. Though they didn't find the survivors or a medical box there, something still caught their eyes. A notepad was lying on the floor. Something had been hastily scribbled on it. 918 Sprinkler System Inspection. Inspectors Takashita, Urabe, Misono will gather in the engine room at 1 p.m. Make sure that the systems have been manually shut off before the inspection.
消火システム点検ってまさかこれのせいで停止してるのか
That is okay, come on. What are the chances of that? So they just so happen to have an inspection where the sprinkler system needs to be shut off. And at that moment, the fucking meltdown occurs. Kazumi ran up to him and took a look at the note.
いや、日付が違います。今日は9月16日ですが、しかしこのエンジンルームというところに行けば消火システム停止の原因もわかるかもしれません。
場所はわかるか
I mean, hey, maybe we can get it on, and then at the very least, that'll put out any fires in any of the other areas, so it'll become a little bit more accessible.
存じません。今後の捜索で見つかれば良いのですが。
But though they hadn't gained much information, it was still
よ
progress.
し次に行こ
The group finished up the search of the room in precisely 1 minute, then headed for the next one. They entered the hallway and went next door. But what they found was no ordinary room at all, but rather an elevator hall. The survivors were nowhere to be found, and all the elevator lights were off.
第1、第2エリアもそうでしたから。このラボのエレベーターは前期止まっているようですね。
エレベーターシャフトを通って地上に行っていることは
残念ながらシャフト内にも地上に続く部位には隔壁があり
God,
ます。
they really just spammed bulkheads out everywhere, didn't they?
うそれも放射能漏洩防止システムの一環か
With the elevators out, the group had no choice but to move on. The destination was the connecting passageway that led to Area 4, but it was buried in a mountain of rubble.
この瓦礫メルトダウン前に起きてたっていう爆発の影響か
おそらくそうです。
通れそうにないですね。
Though they'd finally gotten their hands on a level 4 card, it meant nothing in the face of this. It appeared they need to find another way into Area 4.
ここにいても無意味です。次に行きましょう。
The group went back to Area 3 and headed towards Area N this time. And when they got to the Area N connecting passageway, they were greeted by a door, with a security terminal stationed next to it. The words Level N were engraved on the terminal.
レベル N
どうやら N エリアに入るためには特別なカードが必要らしいですね。
Perhaps Area N had the highest security level in Labo, but it was the fires blazing just beyond that gate that kept them from freedom.
なんとか N エリアに入って火災を止められないかな
何言ってるんですか。それは危険すぎます。たとえ鎮火することができたとしても、
Yeah, I was about to
自主
say,
的被爆は
somebody
免
would
れない
have
で
to
しょう。
die. And then I think even if they did manage to put out the fires, the radiation levels in there would still be insanely high.
そうかくそ
Watase tried putting his Procyon close to the gate, only for the reading to start shooting up astronomically.
2406ミリシーベルトだと
一気に1000近くも。
危険です。お下がりください。
あ
The group frantically ran away from the door. Just then, the Procon's reading went back to normal.
ゲート越しでもこんなありさまかよ
Yeah.
鉛などでできたゲートであれば放射線は完全に遮断できるはずなのですが。
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'd have to imagine that's only what is being read through the door. So, you can only imagine the level that would actually be like inside the room or even on the source of the radiation.
周囲の壁や天井などに破損部があるのかもしれませんね。
Also, I'll say this, they have all these bulkheads in place, but it's so stupid because it's like, oh, perhaps the bulkheads shifted or got damaged. It's like you have these things capable of withstanding hydrogen and steam explosions, and yet they are able to be shifted and then cause leaks? I mean, come on. No matter how strong the gate was, there was always the possibility that there were cracks in other spots. Though they were invisible to the naked eye, there was an atomic dust and radiation leaking through them.
なるほど。徐々に数値が上昇していくわけだ。
いずれにせよ、このゲートの向こうに溶融した原子炉があるのは間違いないですね。
An area of death, swirling with hellfire and radiation. If the area around the gate was that bad even when shut, then they could only imagine just how much radiation would engulf them if they opened it up. It really would be suicide to go into that place. Kazumi continued as Watase held his breath in horror.
隊長、ともかくこれで内周島の捜索は終わりです。外周島を手伝いましょう。
ああ。
The group nodded and ran off towards the outer ring. Bajun's angry shouts filled their ears the moment they reached the connecting passage to the outer ring.
素人は素直に言うこと聞きなって。
何よ煙くらい。レスキューがへたれてんじゃないわよ。
Jun and Anna were engaged in a fierce argument. Ukita watched the two of them with a bewildered look on his face.
どうした？
森部、何を騒いでいるのですか？
あ、副隊長。
Oh.
この先の外周島に煙が漂ってたんだ。火の気があるっぽいんだよ。でも部屋がたくさんあって火元がわからないから椿山さんたちを安全なところで待機させようとしたんだけど。
バカ言ってんじゃないわよ。火の気があるからこそ全員でさっさと捜索すべきでしょ。
とまあ互いに一歩も引かなくてね。
Watase thought for a second about who he should side with, and then... No, they both have good points. As Watase pondered this, Kazumi called out to Anna in a stern tone.
椿山さん、ここは森部の判断が妥当です。下記
副隊長さんまで何言ってるの？煙って言ったってほんのちょっと。
死にたいんですか？死にたくなければ黙って言うことを聞いてください。
Anna instinctively gasped at Kazumi's harsh words.
私はただ捜索を手伝おうと。
言葉がきつかったことは謝ります。椿山さんのお気持ちも嬉しく思います。ですが、どんな小さな火も侮ってはいけません。災害現場では我々の判断を信じてください。我々の任務は全員を無事にここから脱出させることなんです。
Kazumi bowed her head with those words. Anna looked away from her uncomfortably.
分かったわよ。プロにお任せするわ。
ありがとうございます。
Watase straightened his back with a crunch at those words.
ということは俺たちの出番か。
そうだね。隊長の復帰第一戦だ。勘を取り戻すためにはちょうどいいよ。
椿山さんと浮田さん、優里さんは南周島で待機してください。見たところ南周島に火災の兆候は見られませんが、周囲の安全は常に確認してください。
うん、任せたまえ。
了解よ。いってらっしゃい。
After the rest of the group had finished wishing them luck, the rescue workers headed for the outer ring. Area 3, Outer Ring B2. This block had multiple doors lining the hallway on both sides.
確かに少し煙ってるな。
He didn't see any traces of a fire at first, but the entire hallway was filled with thin smoke.
しかしこの施設空調も機能してないのか。
基本的には無事なんだけど壊れてるところもある。ここみたいにね。
おそらくは火災の影響によるものでしょう。
Kazumi looked around the block after saying this, then continued.
それより隊長、この塔の捜索にあたり一つ注意点があります。
注意点？
扉を開ける前にサーモグラフィーで 扉が熱を持ってない
I
か
was
確認して
thinking
くだ
that
さい
earlier. Right? Because it's like these are all big hunky metal doors, and if you tried to open one where there's a fire on the other side of it, you're gonna burn the shit out of your hand.
扉が赤もしくは黄色で表示された場合はそこは絶対に開けないように
And then also, isn't it a thing where it's like, if it's in one of the doors, and you like opened up the door, then all that like rush of oxygen would cause it to like fucking flame up, and essentially cause like a mini explosion kind of deal.
なぜ？
バックドラフトってのが起きるんだよ。閉鎖された部屋で火が燃えると、やがてその火は部屋内の酸素を食い尽くしてくすぶり始める。
That's right.
そこで扉を開けると、部屋内に新鮮な空気が急速に流れ込んで、ドカーンと
Oh,
爆発的
oh,
に燃焼
hold up,
す
this is important. I mean, surely.
この塔には火は見えないけど煙が見える。ってことはどっかの部屋で火がくすぶってる可能。
I'm gonna hit the save button real quick. We can't see any fire, but we can see smoke, which means it's possible that there's a fire smoldering in one of these rooms.
ですから隊長がちゃんと温度をチェックしてくださらなければ我々全員が吹き飛ぶかもしれません。
責任重大だよ。大丈夫？
Excuse me.
なるほどな。
What is? Oh god, this is stressful. It just went red.
なるほどなって。隊長、ちゃんと分かってんの？
I got it. I understand.
消防はチームワーク。3人が意思を統一して緊密に連携せねばならないのですよ。
So now that I think about it, yeah, it's probably faith in ourselves. So like, how much faith do I have in my own abilities? Essentially, is what this is getting at. I'm not gonna. I have full faith in what Tachibana and Moribe are saying because I know that that's a fact. But how much faith are we gonna put in ourselves? I don't really have a reason to change what we have now. But Wasade didn't feel the need to be intimidated by every little thing they said.
とにかく捜索を急ごう。かなり部屋数があるからな。
And with that, the groom began searching each and every room. They stood in front of a room on the edge of the outer ring. Kazumiya headed toward the door, hose at the ready. Wadase turned on the PDA's IRT function and checked the door for heat just as he'd been told.
扉は青い。
了解。じゃあ開けるね。
June announced that as she opened the door. On the other side of the door lay a disorganized office.
どうやら火の気はないようだな。
要救助者の姿もなしっぽいね。
では AD 等の捜索を30秒で行きましょう。
It wasn't long before they found a box.
これがメディカルボックスか。
Is that what it's called? AD, a lone desire? But it was empty. Somebody must have taken the contents already.
外れか。
残念ながらカードもないね。
では次の部屋へ効率を上げていきますよ。
And so the group searched one room after another. But as the search went on without them finding any AD or survivors, to say nothing of the origin of the smoke, Wadase forgot about the threat of fire without even noticing it.
次の部屋でラストだ。
Oh, you stupid motherfucker!
いけません隊長。熱反応の確認を。
Wadase heard Kazumi's warning. But by then, he'd already pressed the open button, and were dead. And the door opened with the faint sound of the opening mechanism. A second later, Wadase's ears were filled with a very peculiar sound. He also felt something like air getting sucked up at the same time. What's that? Wadase's gaze turned to what lay in the room, and what he saw was a fiery maelstrom shooting out at him. At that moment, a memory flashed back in his mind.
扉が赤もしくは
Oh
黄色で
my
表示され
god,
た場合
I
は
shouldn't have put any kind of
そこは
fucking
絶
faith
対
in
に開けないよ
myself.
うに。
そこで扉を開けると部屋内に新鮮な空気が急速に
I'm such an idiot. I saw it turn around and I did nothing.
と爆発的に燃焼するわけ。
Oh crap! By the time he completed that thought, Wadase had been engulfed by red hot flames. And we're dead. Okay. Alright! Good job, guys. We we officially hit our first death. Awesome. Oh, what? I didn't get to see that. No. Go back. Aw, damn. Okay. I didn't know they were gonna throw fucking text at me. Okay. Well, oops, my bad. Didn't mean to do that. Okay. Well, this is exactly why I saved. See? Oh, my name is Wadase Kasasagi. I don't have any fucking faith in myself.
ですから隊長が
なるほどな。
なるほどなって隊長
Let's just, fuck it. We're gonna crank it all the way down. Fuck that shit. I'm not even gonna take a chance.
消防はチームは
He didn't feel intimidated by everything he
とに
said.
かく捜索を
Okay, well, don't tell me that just meant nothing, right? I mean, surely not. What? What the fuck? Okay. Okay.
この塔には火は見えない
From the get-go, I'm gonna crank this
って
down.
ことはどっかの部屋で
I'm curious, because I did that before, but it didn't do anything.
ですから隊長が
You could get blown away, you sure you're up for it.
なるほどな。
Then I say, ah, I see.
なるほどなって隊長ちゃんと分かってんの
I mean, like, surely, right?
消防はチーム
He didn't. Why the fuck are you being so dense, you son of a bitch? Okay.
かなり部屋
Well, I mean, I already know what's gonna happen. He's just gonna die again.
この塔には火は見えないけど煙が見えるってことは
Okay,
どっ
so
かの部屋で
completely
火が
lowering
く
this
すぶ
does
ってる可能性
nothing.
があるんだよ
What about lowering these, maybe?
ですから隊長が
席
なるほどな。
なる
消防は
What?
とにかく捜索を急ごう。かなり部屋数があるから。
I mean, obviously, like, we die, right? Like. Okay, stop. I want to see what this. He attacks me from the end before I go back, but. Huh, it's weird why I keep dying here. The result of Watase not taking Kazumi and Jun's explanation seriously. You may be able to avert this fate by setting Kazumi, Jun, and Watase's senses to very high levels at the SS input just before... High levels? Huh. Okay, we'll try that. I mean, I would have thought that... I would have thought it was a thing where it's like, okay, I'm going to lower Watase's because I have no... Like, I'm basically saying I have no faith in him that he's going to be able to do this. So I kind of expected that to be something where he would then say, oh, you know what, guys, I actually don't understand what you're saying. I'm just going to let you take a lead on this. That's what I figured, but obviously not. Okay, still getting used to this. I mean, but look at this. Okay, let's crank it to max then.
火がくすぶってる可能性があるんだよ
ですから
Okay, so what the fuck? Okay, whatever, man. Watase gulped and checked his surroundings. About 10 doors lined the hallway. They all felt like traps to him. Explosive booby traps just waiting to be tripped.
慎重にやらなきゃまずいよな。この扉のどれもが開ければ火が吹き出る危険性をはらんでるってんだろ。
Okay, I would have, again, I would have figured the exact opposite, but... So I guess in this situation, it would have been better to look at it as, Slider at max is how seriously he's taking this and like how much awareness he's going to give it versus Slider at minimum, which anything other than max really is going to be him kind of brushing it off and being overconfident. Okay. I mean, Clearly, I'll have to be a lot more careful in my decisions in the future.
ええ。しかし、このどれかに AD や要救助者がいるかもしれません。
それに火元を放置しておくわけにもいかない。結局勇気出して一個一個開けなきゃいけないのさ。
決して焦らず、しかし急いで捜索をしましょう。
Okay, we got all that. Oh. Watase braced himself at the moment the door opened. But all that was inside was a trim and tidy office.
火の気はなしか。
要救助者の姿。
では、
Yep, we already got all this. I
では
don't know why I didn't let me skip before. The room opposite the stairwell. Unlike the automatic sliding doors that the other rooms used, this one had a fire door with heavy hinges. When they opened it, all they saw was a collapse. Wait, what? Did I miss something? I must have. Okay, wait. Roger opening drawer. Yeah, no. Okay. Well, yeah, no, I didn't skip anything. All they saw was a collapsed staircase.
しかしなんで階段が崩れてるんだ。火の気もないのに。
火災によるものではないようですね。九段の原因不明の爆発によるものと思われます。
いいから次に行こうよ。テキパキとさ。
The group continued the search at Jun's urging. However, no matter how many rooms they checked after that, the only things they found were empty medical boxes. To make matters worse, there was no sign of any of the survivors, to say the least of the source of the fire. They even checked the bathrooms, but that turned out to be a fruitless endeavor. God damn it, we need to find some AD. Watase was starting to get more and more impatient. The last time the group had taken any AD was around 9:20 a.m., but his watch showed that it was almost 10 a.m. now. We don't even have half an hour. The survivors and security cards are important too, of course, but they wouldn't be able to live past the next hour without some AD. Shit. This is all me and my amnesia's fault. I kept wasting everyone's time by demanding all these explanations from them. They needed to get their hands on some AD quickly in order to make up for that mistake. Hey, brother, I agree with you. You were fucking being an annoying little prick. You know, like, I get it. You're trying to, like, they're trying to build the world and explain it to us, but goddamn. They make us a stupid little baby in order to do that. The group approached the final door in the outer ring as Watase thought this. And like usual, he used the IoT scanner to check the door.
熱はないな。
おかしいですね。煙は他のエリアから流れてきたのでしょうか。
とにかく了解。扉開けます。
Jun then moved to press the button for the door. They've been through this routine 10 times already, and as a result, Watase was probably nowhere near as focused as he'd been at first because he'd gotten used to it. That's why he didn't notice it sooner. Then unlike all the other doors, the RT scanner was showing that this otherwise blue one had a slight yellow tinge to it.
まずい。開けるな、モリベ。
But it was too late. Jun had already hit the button, causing the door to slide open. At that moment, the group all felt something like the air being sucked inward. Jun immediately jumped away from the door. Fire spewed forth from the room only a mere second later. Watase tried to dodge it, but his body wouldn't move. No sooner had Watase heard that shout than were he and the rest of the group blown away by the blast. Jesus! Come on, man. What the fuck is that? Am I dead? He wondered that for a second, but no, he was still alive. However, it felt like something was crushing his body. Watase then opened his eyes.
隊長、大丈夫ですか?
Only to see Kazumi shouting at him and helping him up. It seems she'd knocked him out of the way just in the nick of time.
大丈夫だ。しかし。
Saving. No! I didn't mean to do that!
煙が見える。
No, I did load.
くすぶってる
Okay.
可能性があるんだよ。
Accept that. Yada yada yada. Okay. Skip. Save. That's what we wanted to do. Nice. His surroundings had transformed into a sea of flames in the blink of an eye. The fire that spewed from the room was spreading all the way out into the hall. If this keeps up, then even Tachibana will die. It was at that moment that he heard a voice across the sea of fire.
二人とも無事？
Wadase looked up to find the voice, to find June looking at him and Kazumi from the other side of the flames. Wadase quickly shouted back.
森部、こっちに消火ホースをよこしてくれ。
Jun picked up the hose lying in the ground and tossed it with an underhand throw. The metal nozzle slid across the floor and stopped right in front of Watase. The fire spread even further during those few seconds, filling the hallway with black smoke. Just standing burned his skin, and his lungs hurt every time he breathed in.
いけません隊長。ここは私が。
大丈夫だ。このくらいの炎、俺にだって。
Wadase forced himself to step towards the direction of the flames, then turned the nozzle of the hose. Wadase was caught off guard for a moment. The water pressure was far greater than he expected. So he used all his might to keep the hose under control, knowing he'd most likely shoot right out of his hands if he let his guard down for even a second. The hose's jet stream ran right into the brightly burning fire. However, it's not going out? Although steam was rising here and there, the force of the flames didn't weaken in the slightest. Wadase blindly swung the hose. Despite his efforts, the fire only grew stronger and stronger and swooped down on Wadase with intense ferocity. Flames swayed, barely licking at his left hand. The heat shot through his glove and burned the back of his hand. He then dropped the hose on instinct. Oh shit! He frantically tried to pick up the hose. Oh no, I don't know! Leave it to Kazumi, man! But then Kazumi grabbed his collar and violently pulled him back. Yes, please. Okay, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. As he said this, Watase noticed that there was something caught on his right hand. It was a locket with a broken chain. Kazumi had apparently dropped it when she tackled him earlier. Watase quickly put it in his pocket and looked at the sight that lay in front of him. Kazumi nimbly handled the hose as she told Watase this in a calm voice. She aimed the jet stream right at the edge of the fire, pushing the flames back. Sugoi! Kazumi replied to Watase's praise with a cool and collected tone. Kazumi quickly swung the hose as she fired off that cold answer. The water swelled up like an animal and fell onto the fire in front of them. The flames that had been heartily burning with such fury earlier were now growing smaller and smaller with each passing moment. And soon enough, they were gone completely. Kazumi turned off the water with that declaration. Jun quickly came running back over and called out to her teammates.
危なかったね、二人とも。
ああ、橘と森部のおかげでなんとか助かったよ。
それは何よりですが、隊長。
All of a sudden, she grabbed Watase by the collar.
隊長、なぜちゃんとサーモグラフィーを確認せず、OK を出したのですか？
Yep, my bad, that's my bad.
すまない。AD を早く手に入れなければと思い焦ってしまったんだ。
焦った？焦ったから失敗したとでも？そんな甘い考えでこの仕事が務まるとお思いですか？そのざまでは要救助者を助けることはおろか、ご自分の命も守れませんよ。
すまん。
それにどうしてすぐに
I'm sorry. Hey, that was my fault. That wasn't his fault. That was my fault. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. That was completely my fault. I probably should have listened to you and given you the hose.
それはだがあの時はとっさにお前を守らなきゃと思って。
私を守る。生意気言わないでください。いつもの隊長ならともかく、今のあなたにそんな力はありません。
Something in Watase's head snapped at those words.
そういう言い方はないだろう。俺は俺なりに一生懸命。
俺は俺なりにです。
Kazumi's eyebrows twitched as she said that. She then grabbed him by the nape of his neck and pushed him against the wall.
命のかかったこの現状で、そんな甘い考えが通用すると思っているのですか？自分なりに頑張りましたとか、一生懸命やりましたとか、そうした意志は意味を持ちません。今求められるのは正しい行動と、それを選び出す冷静さです。私たちは犬死にしに来たんじゃありません。命を救うために来たのですよ。有利さを発見した時も、隊長は自らの力量も現状の危険性も顧みず、炎の中に飛び込もうとしましたね。おそらくそれもあなたなりに有利さんを助けようと思った結果の行動でしょう。しかし要救助者を助けるために自分の命を捨てるようなやつは英雄なんかじゃない。ただのバカ者だ。これはかつて隊長がご自分でおっしゃった言葉じゃありませんか。そんなことも忘れてしまったあなたはただの一般人と同じです。
She's right. Unfortunately, she is right. Watase couldn't say anything to that. He felt like he'd been handed an epiphany of how utterly powerless and foolish he'd been. He hung his head crestfallenly and let out a feeble reply.
すまなかった。俺の軽率な行動のせいでみんなを危険な目に遭わせちまって。
分かっていただければ良いのです。ですが隊長、私が今言ったことは絶対に忘れないでくださいね。
Kazumi let go of Watase's neck and said that. It was then that Jun nervously cut in.
副隊長、今日の隊長は仕方ないよ。いつもとは違うんだから。
そうですね。本来であればあんな軽率な行動は決してしない方でしたから。
That's what I'm saying. Like, sure, we may have lost our memories, but this is far past just losing your memory. This is straight up having your entire personality wiped. Like even if, like, normally in a case of amnesia, right? Listen, I'm no doctor, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine in case of amnesia, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot who my parents were. I forgot who my colleagues were. But at the end of the day, if before I had lost my memory, I was strict, followed the rules, and, you know, practical, that wouldn't mean that once I lose my memories, I'm all of a sudden this carefree buffoon who doesn't care for rules or authority. You know, like, I would still be somebody who's strict, follows the rules, and practical. So, just the more that I see from Watase, the more I'm convinced that this isn't actually, like, the captain. This isn't actually him. Those words pierced Watase's heart. She was right. The Watase Kasasagi of today was completely different from the normal Watase Kasasagi, so he wished that he could, at the very least, learn from his past self.
なあ、立花。普段の俺はどんなレスキュー隊員だったんだ？
そうですね。冷静で理知的で、とても慎重な方でした。
なんかそれヘタレっぽくないか？
とんでもない。隊長はどんな状況でも合理的な判断が下せる理想的なレスキュー隊員だったんです。
そうだね。まあ厳しいことは厳しかったけど、筋は通ってたよね。
そうだったのか。
If someone as competent as Kazumi was praising him this much, then he probably really had been a truly superb rescue worker. That thought alone made him curse his current self's incompetence.
わかったよ。とにかくこれからは安全を第一に考えるようにする。自分も含めてだ。
ええ、せめて記憶がいつもの調子が戻るまではそのようにお願いします。では訓戒はここまで。皆さんのところへ戻りましょう。
Kazumi gave that order and started walking again. Watase and Jun followed after her. His burnt left hand still ached under his glove. God damn it, how pathetic. Watase thought over the situation. The normal Watase Kasasagi would never have screwed up as badly as he had just now. And what kind of relationship had he had with Kazami, his lieutenant? As he thought this, he looked suddenly at Jun, only to find she was looking at him too.
なんて顔してんのさ。
Jun said that to Watase with a wry smile.
ひでえ顔してたが。
うん、すごいへこんでる感じ。初めて見る表情だよ。
反省してんだよ。自分が情けなくってな。
今日は本当にいつもの体調と違うよね。言うことが私とそっくりだ。
そっくり？
実はね、私もしょっちゅうそういうことを思ってるんだ。私なんかにシリウスの隊員が務まんのかなってね。超人だらけだからさ、うちのチームって。隊長と副隊長を筆頭に。
超人か。残念ながら今の俺はそう呼ばれる資格はないよ。
何言ってんのさ。記憶がまっさらなんだから、そんなの当たり前じゃん。これで隊長が私より活躍したら私の立つ瀬がないよ。記憶がある分、私の方がレスキュー隊の先輩みたいなもんなんだからね。
そりゃそうかもしれないが。
まあ、新人同士力を合わせて頑張っていこうよ。
And with that, Jun gave Watase a nice hard slap on the back. Is she being considerate of me? She may not choose her words wisely, but she's not a bad person at heart. Jun continued as those thoughts crossed Watase's mind.
まあ、いつまでもミスを引きずっちゃダメだよ。隊長のミスは私がフォローするから、萎縮しないで頑張って。そうやってちょっとずつ勘取り戻していこう。
ありがとう。できるだけ早く追いつくから、それまではよろしく頼むよ、先輩。
おお、任せてよ、後輩。
Watase and Jun broke out into a smile at that exchange. A strong feeling of reassurance broke through the clouds of self-pity covering Watase's heart. By the time Watase's group made it back to the inner ring, Anna and the others were waiting to greet them.
何かあったの？爆発音みたいのが聞こえたけど。
いや、バックドラフトってのを起こしちまってな。
Watase informed Anna, Ukida, and Yuri of what had transpired back in the outer ring.
外周島でそれほどの火災が？
どうした浮田さん、そんなに驚いて。
いや、想像していた以上に火災が広がっていると思ってね。
だね。こんなに広がると分かっていたら、隊長も浮田さんを置き去りにしていかなかっただろうし。
俺もひどいことをしたもんだ。すまないな、浮田さん。
But see, I mean, it's a good thing that we didn't have them come with us. I don't even know if that's like a possibility to have them come with us. But if they did, they would have been caught in that blast too.
それはもういい。それより捜索を急いだ方がいいんじゃないかね。
じゃあ次は地下1階をって。あれ？
A puzzled look formed on Jun's face before she could finish her sentence.
椿山さん、浮田さん、ゆうりちゃんは？
Taken aback with shock, everyone looked around them. But Yuri was nowhere to be found.
どこに行ったんだ、ユーリは。
Guys! What the fuck? How did you lose her? I'm really tempted to lower this just because it's like, how the fuck? Should I do it? Oh, I don't know. Should I do it? I'm definitely losing a bit of respect for her. Come on, like, no way.
わからないわ。さっきまで一緒にいたのに。
ついさっきまでは目を離さずにいたんだ。本当だ。
逃げたの？どうして？
わかりませんが、まずいですよ、これは。ここは一人で出歩くには危険すぎます。
Anna gasped sharply at Kazumi's words. Watase saw what appeared to be a look of guilt cover her face.
先生、すぐ探しに行くぞ。
そうね。まだ遠くへは行ってないはずだわ。
The two of them exchanged glances and simultaneously broke off into a run. They heard the other members of the group talking and take off running soon after.
森部、浮田さん、了解。
あ、急ごう。
Watase turned to Anna as they dashed through the hallway.
先生、 ユーリはどこに行ったと思う？
わからないわ。だけどセキュリティゲートが開いた音とかは聞こえなかったと思う。
It was then that Watase realized it. The security gates indoors to each laboratory made a loud sound whenever they opened or closed. You need to go through a security gate to get out of this area. And Yuri most likely doesn't have a card, which means she probably can't get out of this area.
先生、その辺にある小部屋の扉が開いた音は聞いたか？
それも聞いてないわ。
ということは
There was only one answer. Anna's head suddenly shot upwards.
きっと上の階に向かったんだわ。
Unlike the mechanical sliding doors that stood in front of every other room, the stairwells had normal fireproof doors. If you were careful enough to open the door without making a sound, you could get away without anyone noticing.
行こう、先生。
But then it's like, why the fuck did she run?
ええ、
The two nodded at each other and headed for the emergency staircase. When they got there,
いた。
Yuri was standing in that dim room. Yuri froze with a jolt. Watase and Anna ran up the staircase and grabbed Yuri by the arm.
ユーリ、勝手にいなくなるなよ。心配したぞ。
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing, girl? Watase gently put his hand on Yuri's shoulder. Yuri hung her head like a dog that had been scolded.
ユーリさん、どうして一人で逃げたりしたの？
私怖くて。
怖い？
怖いってな。
それは
ユーリ、別に怒ったりしないから先生の質問に答えるんだ。
Watase let go of her arm and spoke with a kind voice. Yuri then nervously started talking as if she'd finally prepared herself.
そのさっきの爆発音が。
爆発音？それじゃあユーリさんはその音に驚いてここまで逃げてきたっていうの？
Cat! Watase and Anna looked at each other.
よほど怖がりなんだな。
Watase gave a wry smile and turned back to the door.
おいみんな、ユーリがいたぞ。
It wasn't long before they heard the sound of Kazumi and the others running over. As soon as she got there, Kazumi gave Yuri a stern glare.
ダメでしょユーリさん、一人で行動しては。危険だって言ってるじゃないですか。あんまり勝手なことすると私も怒りますよ。
Yuri's voice trembled in the face of Kazumi's harsh scolding. Watase quickly cut in.
ちょっと待ってくれ、立花。あまり叱らないでやってくれるか。
なんですって？
ユーリは俺の起こしたバックドラフトの爆炎に驚いて思わず逃げてしまったらしいんだ。つまり言ってみりゃ俺のせいなんだよ。だからその怒鳴るのもほどほどに。
Watase said this nervously, seeing as how he'd been on the end of a scolding from Kazumi himself just a few minutes ago. A troubled look appeared on her face.
そうですか。しかし一人で行動したら
Literally, yeah.
もっと危険ですよ。
That is
そうだよ、
not
ユ
no
ーリちゃん。
way.
私らと一緒にいるのが一
She
番
heard
安
the
全だよ。
explosion, got scared, and just bolted without telling anybody. And not only that, but again, when we were talking about the doors, we said that in order for her to have opened this door without anybody hearing, she would have had to purposefully open it very quietly. Right? So there was intention behind her quietness and sneakiness. But yet I'm supposed to believe that she had run away because she was so scared and frightened. Right? Like, who does that? Like, oh my god, I'm so scared. Let me quietly slip away and then, you know, quietly push open this door to get inside to the staircase.
僕も素人だがね、プロの言うことは聞いておいた方がいいと思う。
すみません。
So, unsurprisingly, there's something fucking fishy going on with Yuri. Yuri was practically shaking after having every adult in the room scold her at once.
まあまあ、どのみち地下1階に上がるところだったんだし、手間が省けたじゃないか。
体調は甘いです。こういうことが続くと助かる命も助けられません。
それはそうだが、でももう分かったよな、ユーリも。
She said this in a nearly inaudible voice. Even Kazumi looked a bit embarrassed at herself.
わかればいいのです。それでは行きましょうか。
Kazumi took Yuri's hand and ascended the staircase. Jun and Ukita followed after them. Excuse me. Last but not least, Watase and Anna began to walk up the staircase. Just then,
隊長さん、
Anna grabbed Watase's hand and whispered that.
どうした？
ユーリさんだけど、さっき追いかけてきたあなたを見てビクッとしてなかった？
ああ、確かに。
Watase suddenly remembered something just as he said that. How she'd reacted earlier and her attitude up until this point.
っていうか実はさ、最初に会った時からなんか嫌われてるみたいなんだよ。
嫌われてる？どうして？
I don't know.
俺にもわからん。なんでなんだろう。
Watase started to wonder if Yuri had a problem with him or something. He looked it in his face and asked.
なあ先生、俺の顔って怖いかな？
怖いって別にまあ普通の顔だわよ。
言うね。
Watase asked another question as he felt the pain of Enna's retort in his heart.
しかし、どうやら顔が問題ってわけじゃないみたいだな。他に原因があるのかな？
なんでしょうね。思い当たることは？
何もないんだが。そういや先生は教師だったな。生徒にわけもなく嫌われることってあるか？
Anna looked confused about Watase's question.
そんなことあるわけないじゃない。私、生徒に愛されてるし。
ああ、そう。じゃあその秘訣は？
I mean, I'm surprised. Like, don't get me wrong, this guy's a fucking moron. But I'm surprised that that at least Enna either hasn't put together the fact, oh, she doesn't like you for some seemingly unknown reason. So maybe it's not that she doesn't like you, but she doesn't like the you from before, essentially, right? Like the you from before you lost your memory.
そうね。まあ強いて言うなら、子供たちに惜しみなく愛を注ぐことかしら。
愛？
そうよ、愛。常に子供たちのことをおもんぱかり、目を配る。手間を惜しまず、労をいとわずね。多少押し付けがましくても、相手のことをちゃんと心から考えていれば、きっと気持ちも伝わるはずだから。
ほう、そういうものかね。
He couldn't say anything for sure since he didn't know what the normal Anna's relationship with her students was like, but he decided to keep that advice in mind. But at the same time, he noticed a gaping hole in Anna's speech and decided to exploit it.
でも先生よ、常に子供に目を配ってる割には、ユーリが逃げたことには気づかなかったみたいだな。
言いたいところつくわね。だからちょっと落ち込んでたのよ。
まあこれからはお互いユーリには常に目を配っておこうぜ。
あなたに言われなくても分かってるわよ。
The two of them reached the top of the staircase by the time Anna finished saying that, and officially reached floor B1. Area 3, Inner Ring B1. I think it's a pretty decent time to stop, right? Throw a little save in there. Let's see, let's go back to the main menu. I'm surprised we don't have a map yet, though. I feel like we should have a map by now, but obviously we don't. So, title. Okie dokie. So, I'm sorry, I'm gathering my thoughts, I'm sorry. So, nothing really major happened in terms of the plot, particularly. I mean, obviously we're now chasing after these kids, but I imagine this is probably going to be something where we might not even find the kids for a very long time. But we've picked up two new characters, Enna and Ukita, and really, I'll say it again, their stories are kind of interesting. Because for Enna, it's the question of why was she brought here? Like, for what reason was this substitute teacher brought to this fucking facility? For Ukita, I mean, there's not too much to his story. It's like, yeah, okay, he had, he stayed behind to help the evacuation, then got trapped there during the lockdown. Okay, cool, I can believe that. Obviously, Yuri from the start has been a major mystery, even before we lost our fucking memory. Because it seems like Watase had specifically come here, or at the very least, one of his objectives in this rescue was specifically to save her. And then all this stuff with this monster, quote-unquote, happened. And for some reason, she's scared of us. Which is the interesting thing to me. Because if you remember correctly... Well, if I remember correctly... When we were fighting that monster... Oh, man, I forget. Something happened. And then we, like, ran away screaming and stuff. And then we collapsed and woke back up and had our memories wiped. Or, you know, our memories wiped. I'm pretty sure I can confidently say we had our personality replaced. So that would, to me, insinuate that Yuri knows, to some degree, what actually happened to us. So, and I think that's why she's scared of us and is trying to escape. I think, to some degree, it might go something like this. We were dragging her along through the facility, ran into this monster. She witnessed everything that happened. And maybe she's assuming that, oh, okay, like, this guy has been taken over by the monster. Like, this isn't the person who was trying to save me before. This is, like, the bad guy, essentially. So I'm assuming that she believes something along those lines, and then obviously it's a question of whether there's any validity to that statement. Are we actually unknowingly the baddie, or is that just a misconception on her part and there's something else entirely going on with us? Also, I didn't notice it, but under root, it has root, ROUTE, underneath it. I did not realize that before. But yeah, so clearly whatever's going on with Watase and Yuri is going to be very important. But then it kind of makes me curious whether I should be, you know, hyper-analyzing things that go on with Enna and Ukite, and hell, even with, like, Jun and Kazumi. With Kazumi, I imagine we're going to get a little something, because we still have that locket of hers that she dropped when she pushed us out of the way. And then, of course, there's a whole thing of, like, oh, what kind of relationship did we have with her beforehand? So, I imagine, you know, eventually we're going to end up opening the locket for sure, right? And seeing what's inside. And that might reveal some lore about who we really are, maybe even who Kazumi really is. So, that's all very interesting. Again, not too much plot-wise happened. We are kind of getting a move on finally, which I felt like we should have been doing from the very fucking beginning. Like, you have super deadly radiation slowly creeping on you, and we're sitting around explaining, you know, fucking very blatantly obvious shit. So, in that respect, I don't blame Enna for calling us a dunce, because we very much are a fucking dunce. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait until next episode, which I promise will not take fucking forever to get out. We'll just have to wait until next episode to see a little bit further, uncover some more, you know, some answers maybe, uncover probably a lot more questions, find out more about these characters, what the fuck they're doing down here, and how this all happened to begin with. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video and tell me in the comment section below what you would like to see me play next. I can't speak. If you enjoyed this video or any other videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified when one of those videos comes out. Anyways, that's it for me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!